And welcome back. And it's the 30th of Jan, almost the end of the month. And it is the 5-a-day Corbett. Let's go with the first question. All right, so we have a straightforward rationalize and simplify fully. Simplify fully makes me wonder what's going to happen here, but let's just give it a go anyway. So I'm going to multiply top and bottom by root 10 minus 3. In other words, you change the sign at the bottom, so that's going to be root 10 minus 3. Expand the, I think it just means expand the brackets, doesn't it? So 9 times root 10 is going to be 9 root 10. 9 times minus 3 is minus 27. Then on the bottom, we've got 10 times 10, which is 10. Oh, okay. And 3 times minus 3, which is minus 9. 10 minus 9 is 1. So the denominator is going to go away, which just leaves me with, I'm going to write it up here so you can see it nice and clearly, 9 root 10 minus 27. That is the first question done. Next question. We have a ratio coordinates question. Oh, I like these. The line y equals 2x plus 10 passes through the points P, Q, and R. P, Q, Q, R equals 1 to 2. Find the coordinates. Right, okay. Right, so let's start by working out these coordinates. So P is where y equals 0, which means that, well, let's write this down again so you can see what I'm doing. So 2x plus 10 is equal to 0. So x is minus 5, which means P is minus 5, 0. And that's fine. And then R is where x equals 0. So in other words, y equals 10. So therefore, R is the point 0, 10. Now, how am I going to do this? Right, so the ratio from P to Q is 1 to 2, which means that's one part and that's 2 times as big. I'm going to use vectors. I know people don't like vectors, but vectors are really good. So P to R is going across by 5 and up by 10. And P to Q is 1/3 of that, because it's one part out of 3. So it's 1/3 of 5, 10, which I can also write as PQ is equal to 5 over 3, 10 over 3. Now, this is where I need to be careful. I need to add PQ to P. Let's do this properly. So in A-level language, I would say O to Q, in other words, the point Q is what's called the position vector, is equal to O to P plus P to Q. And so that's going to be the point P, which is, what was P? Minus 5, 0. So it's minus 5, 0 plus P to Q, which is 5 over 3, 10 over 3. And so that's going to give me, well, let's work this out. So minus 5 plus 5 over 3 is going to give me, oh, it's 10, it's both the same number, isn't it? So it's going to be minus 10 over 3. Let's do it as a vector first of all. So minus 10 over 3, 10 over 3. In other words, I can say the point Q to answer the question is going to be minus 10 over 3, 10 over 3. Which of course, I'm not saying you can tell that by looking at the diagram, but that kind of looks correct based on the diagram and the numbers that I know. Good question. Next question. Right, what do I have? Wow, okay, so work out the matrix BAC. You've got to be careful here. So you're not doing A times B, you're doing B times A. So let's write that down. So it's minus 1, 6, 7, 2 times 5 minus 1 minus 2, 5. Important to write it down because it's quite hard to do back to front in your head. So that's going to be, now hopefully your matrices are okay, so I'm going to run through it fairly quickly. So it's minus 1 times 5, which is minus 5. 6 times minus 2, which is minus 12. Minus 1 times 1, which is minus 1 times minus 1, which is 1. 6 times 5, which is 30. 7 times 5 is 35, and 2 times minus 2 is minus 4. 7 times minus 1 is minus 7, and 2 times 5 is 10. And let's bring all that together. So that's going to give me minus 17, 31, minus, no, not minus, plus 31, and plus 3. Oh, first bit done. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply that. So let's write that again. So minus 17, 31, 31, 3. I'm going to multiply all of that by minus 3, 2. Now let's just double check. I mean, I know it's going to work, but let's check it anyway. So that's a 2 by 2 matrix times a 2 by 1 matrix. These numbers are the same, so it works. This is the output, which is a 2 by 1. So I'm expecting 2 numbers here. So let's work out these numbers. So minus 17 times minus 3 is 51. plus 2 times 31, which is 62. 31 times minus 3 is minus 93, and 3 times 2 is 6. And so my final answer is going to be 51 plus 62 is going to give me 113. Minus 93 plus 6 is going to give me 87. Yeah, minus 87. And that's that done. Nice little question at the end, much more tricky than the usual sort of just do a quick calculation questions we get. But as ever, hopefully today went well. Leave comments below, like, subscribe. Usual thing I say every day. It helps the algorithm. Apparently I'm supposed to say that out loud. And I'll see you for the next one. Thanks all.